Hi, my name is RENFORD REESE. I'm an associate professor in the political science department at Cal Poly Pomona. I'm also the director of the Colorful Flags program. I'm here this evening to talk about my recent book, Prison Race. Prison Race, I wrote this book for those in the public, including policymakers who are unaware of decades of counterproductive criminal justice policies. They're unaware of the damage wrought by these policies. This book examines two fundamental questions. Why have lawmakers embraced counterproductive criminal justice policies? And two, what are the consequences of these policies? Prison race is a double entendre. It has two meanings. One, over the last couple of decades, there has been a race to incarcerate in the United States. And two, there's one race that has been significantly impacted by unfair, unjust criminal justice policies, and that's African Americans. My first book, American Paradox, Young Black Men, looked at how young black men have embraced one monolithic model of black masculinity, the gangster thug model. And the enthusiastic embrace of this model, how it has been detrimental to an entire generation of young black men, manifested in gang violence, manifested in underachievement in school. There was a young man who was serving a 12-year sentence at Centinela State Prison for manslaughter, who read this book, American Paradox, Young Black Men. And he wrote me a letter about how this book inspired him and how this book had an impact on him. And I was struck by, one, how candid the letter was, and two, how eloquent his words were. So I decided to write him back, and I decided to go down to Centinela State Prison in Imperial, California, about 2 hours east of San Diego, and meet with this gentleman and meet with other young men in the IYO educational program, Incarcerated Youth Offenders Educational Program. And I spoke to these young men for about 30 minutes. And then I opened the floor up for Q&A. And when I opened it up for Q&A, I found these young men to be very conscious, intellectually curious, and very articulate. And I went back to my place and I corresponded with about 5 of these young men. And I said, my goodness, these young men are well written, and I would put them against any of the students that I teach at Cal Poly Pomona. And so I started to investigate why some of these young men were put in prison, why they were put behind bars. And I became enraged because some of these young men were put in prison for what I thought were very frivolous things, nonviolent crimes. And so this was the impetus for me to begin writing the book, Prison Race. Politicians have embraced public safety, whether they're liberal or conservative. All politicians talk about public safety. It's on all of their lips. But politicians fail to look at the correlation between recidivism and public safety. In other words, if recidivism is high, public safety is not enhanced, it's only undermined. And so we have a criminal justice system, a correction system that is woefully overcrowded. And one reason it's overcrowded is because of young men being put in prison, incarcerated for nonviolent crimes. So this became the motivation for me writing the book, Prison Race. It is a candid depiction of the human rights violations and the injustices taking place behind our prison walls. I tried to combine commentary and scholarship to write this book. I interviewed correctional officers, I interviewed inmates, I interviewed parolees. The person who wrote me the letter, Michael Quake Fisher, was a person who I got to write chapter 3. He's with us today, and I just want to have a informal conversation with Michael about his upbringing, what prison life was like, and where he sees his examination of the correctional system in the United States and also California. Good evening, Quake. So tell me about how you got to prison. Why were you incarcerated?
Well, I went to prison for manslaughter and a lot of other non-controlling offenses, you know, for like stuff they're trying to get me for conspiracy, all activity that took place within my hood per se. And at the end of the day, I ended up pleading a 16 and a half year deal for manslaughter for my case. And did like over a year and a half fighting it, because at first they were trying to get me for murder 1, and then it went to murder 2, and as time evolved, it ended up being manslaughter. You know, they said, basically they said we could see you with a second chance. But it was kind of crazy because I had an attorney that told me at the end of the day, the only reason they're really not tripping is because it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, for at least temporarily, because, you know, my attorney looked right in my eyes and told me the only reason they really want to plea is because it was another dope dealer that you killed, and he was black. If it would have been a white dude, we'd be going to the box, he said, you know. And I'm like, you know, it was crazy hearing it, but at the same time, I mean, for me, I was like, you know, okay, cool. But it still hurt to know that I was going to be gone for this amount of time, and I was like young, you know, first time in that environment, so I was like, man, I'm not coming home till space age, you know. But here I am now, after 12 and a half years later, you know, finding my way out.
Right. You know, when I was speaking to your group down at Sentinel a couple of years ago, I said I was struck by, you know, how articulate, how conscious, how intellectually curious the group was.
Mm-hmm.
And what struck me also was that all of you could have been in my situation if you had better guidance, if you had mentorship, and if you had grown up perhaps in a different environment. It was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said that geography is destiny. Tell me about what it was like for you to grow up where you grew up. First of all, tell me where you grew up.
I grew up in a small town called Rubidoux in Riverside, California, and it's about 60 miles west of Los Angeles. And I grew up, I guess, being now with all this epidemic going on now, with all this gangs and Crips and Bloods don't spread like wildfire all across the 50 states, you know, it finally don't spread all about. We were like the first ones to get hit with it, I guess, because we were so close to South Central LA. And with that said, you know, we were just quick to embrace that same type of, you know, thing that they were doing, you know. And it was already like in our mind, you know, ghetto and dope dealing and killing each other and all that. We just chose to embrace it to the fullest, like South Central did. And next thing you know, we were, you know, gangbanging and Crips and shooting up each other and moving much drugs as we could, and, you know, the same old thing, you know, that they were doing, you know. And growing up, the same old scenario. A lot of individuals grew up with just moms, father gone, wherever he is, you know, whether locked up or a dope fiend or whatever the case, you know, same old story. Just a lot of them same stories, just congested, surrounded with each other, and just a recipe for disaster. And here I am now, you know, most of the people that I grew up with are locked away for life with murders, or they're dead, you know. And I go back to the neighborhood now and I see, you know, my so-called little homies, my homeboys' sons and stuff, they were 8 years old, now they're like 20. And, you know, that's like, they're kind of like picking up where we left off, to a certain degree at least. And violence is still prevalent out there between the blacks and Hispanics. You know, fresh out, I came home like 2 months after being home. They already had 4 funerals that went by of my, you know, mommy's kids. And it's still crazy over there, you know. And we're still trying to figure out what's going to take place to get it right.
So tell me, what was it like when you first were incarcerated?
It was very interesting because, like,
You were 19 years old?
19. And you hear so much about stuff you pick up on TV or stuff you pick up on a song or something that your homies who've been there before told you, but you really don't pay no mind to it because you don't even think you're going there anyway when you're on the street. But then once cuffs came on, all that started like running through my mind, curiosity, wondering like, I wonder if it's like that. I wonder if it's gonna be like this. So it was like, here I am, a youngster trying to deal with the fact that I'm facing life for murder and other criminal acts, and I'm dealing with all that going on for the first time in my life, and I'm dealing with the fact that I'm fit to be exposed to a whole new world that I that I had no idea about. It's just different. So just trying to cope with everything at once at such an early age. Being that.
Did you had you graduated from high school?
No, I did not. No.
Okay.
No. 12th grade, missing classes. Never made it. Tried summer school. Went to summer school. During the summer school, got into some more gangbang activity, and while I was going to school, I had to leave town to get, after drama there. So never finished that. I did take some college courses in prison, ironically though, but I never finished school. And
so when you got to prison, you originally went to Centinela?
My first prison I went to was Calipatria. When I got to Calipatria at that time was like really crazy because it was a new penitentiary. So when new penitentiaries opened up, a lot of politics and different races and gangs fighting over a power that truly didn't even really exist in my eyes, but fighting over power allegedly, and so it was very violent. And as soon as I got there, the first day I got into a cell, first time I ever been in a level 4 mass security cell. I'm at the door, somebody come to the door, want to introduce themselves, let me know who's who and where people that I should know where they're going to be at and where I can meet them in a week or two, after orientation. And while we're talking, all of a sudden you just hear, get out, and the gun go off, and there's a guy over there threatening to kill himself. And they shoot him just to stop him from killing himself. I'm like, wow, this is my first day, fresh, still got the jumpsuit on my bedroll, first day there. I'm like, wow. Then, so we're on lockdown for that. 2 weeks later after lockdown, let us off. I'm still at the door waiting for our day room. While the day room's running, you see a diversion on one side of the day room floor, and on the other side of the day room floor is a black guy on the phone getting stabbed up by 3 Hispanics. I'm like, this is crazy place. But, I was young, chip on my shoulder, fresh in with, murder rap, thought I was that dude, and even though the gun wasn't around, I still felt I was about to business, so like, whatever, bring it. But it was just a trip witnessing all this, like, that quick there. And it came to the point that he changed the name up from Calipatria to Kilopatria because you was finding people dead and behind the walls at work. People in they cell OD'd or stabbed up, left for dead. It was like real buck wild at Calipatria fresh there. And at the end of the day now, I was kind of glad that I went there first because it prepared me for everything else throughout the duration of my stay there. After doing like 2 years there first, any other institution I went to was like, it was nothing to, it was like, I considered lightweight. Even though I did, 11 years straight on level 4 maximum security prisons, it was like, that first place prepared me for a lot. And it was, a lot of people were like, ain't no way in heck I would have wanted to go there. But at the end of the day, it prepared me. Just learned a lot. I learned a lot, witnessed a lot,
So what was what type of reputation did you have when you were in prison?
Well, first word off the top, rider, soldier, real NIWGA, just all the different terminologies they throw out there, and which was good. I mean, because you don't want the reputation as no buster, punk, coward, weirdo, But I was far from them, so I wasn't tripping. That is just, when I got there, I was getting embraced by a lot of different individuals, whether they was in there for life or they just got in there because like through the word of mouth, like streets talk, penitentiaries talk, county jails talk. So a lot of people had heard about me, based on the activity that went down while I was on the street, as far as the streets went, and and when you get there, you immediately get tested on different types of stuff just because when you be exposed to that, because like seeing all that stuff, a lot of people would just try to get somewhere else, relocate and all that. I seen it all and I was like, I ain't going nowhere. So, whether it was false bravadoism or whatever the case, I don't know. It's just that people just respected, somebody else about the business, because in there, we all we had and we trying to recruit all we could. We wasn't tripping on geographical areas where you're from, whether it be LA, Inland Empire, or Chicago. It's just like, man, if you real, let's kick it together, because we all we got. Because up in there, all these race riots, the Latinos are 6-to-1 ratios with us, and they ain't feeling us. And you got the skinheads and all them other different type of hate groups. They ain't feeling us. So then we ain't feeling ourselves, so we beef with ourselves. So at the end of the day, everybody was just trying to scoop up all the real soldiers you could, fresh off them buses, young or old, let's mount up, let's do this together. So I was cool with that, because it just, off the top, it just seemed like you're gonna need some, you're gonna need some kind of somebody to put their back against your back up in here, because it was like, it was very crazy up in there.
So tell me about, when did you start to make your transformation from being a gangster OG and having that type of mindset to being more cerebral, being more progressive in your thinking?
Just get tired, like, year after year, the same old stuff, and you like look around and see you don't have nothing, and this just say it's got to be more than this. It's like when you're young, you only you only know what's exposed to you and what's surrounding you. And in the hood, we really didn't know there was a whole other world that existed out there. We was in the hood, barely went out of it, And when I got locked up, I just was exposed to a lot of different stuff, whether you just turn on the TV, because we didn't watch TV on the streets. We out there, grinding or whatever. So just to see that there's a whole other world out there, you like, man, I want to be get a bar of that one. This, this didn't turn out how I thought it was gonna turn out. The epitome of what you about this, and on the streets you had all these females, and on the streets you was moving the dope. But at the end of the day, now look, stuck in a cell. Like, come on, gotta be better place than this. So you get to thinking like, okay, if you want more, how you gonna prepare yourself for that? And for me, it was a struggle because I didn't know what to keep and what to hold on to, because at the end of the day, I always felt that the hood is always gonna be within me, but I felt that I needed to make a transition to where I could still be that individual, but at the same time, just on a bigger page, seeing things different, seeing the big picture, and trying to just do more. Not necessarily materialistic things and having stuff like that, just like life, just enjoying life, and there's more stuff you can be doing. It's a bigger world out there than just the hood, But back then, young, you don't know that, and you don't care neither,
Right, you hear some people saying, that guy knows how to do his time.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't know how to do his time. What does that mean? Can you interpret that for me?
Yeah, because, like, it's a mind game. Like I say, they talk about prison as a country club because you got cable TV or some video channel, or, man, they can give you all that stuff. None of that's going to wipe away the mental struggle that you go through. The freedom is the main thing that's important. And that's another thing you don't be aware of until you grow older and see things differently. And in there, if you don't know how to do your time, you're going to go crazy. And as far as knowing how to do your time, as far as like how to keep your mind occupied, how to shake the drama and shake the weirdos and stay out of the CO's face so you won't ever be exposed to any excess drama that you need to be exposed to. And like, for example, like somebody, to me, this is somebody who doesn't know how to do their time. I mean, he gets up in the morning, you know, hops out of bed, waits for the yard, goes to the yard, plays basketball, comes back in, eats his lunch, paces in the cells, just paces at the door, waiting for the door to crack again, like he's just caged and just needs to get out, just going crazy, pacing back and forth. They open the doors, you take up out the door, now you back on the yard, just ripping and running, just like no plan or nothing. You just idle mind, you want to play cards, or you're not trying to prepare yourself for the future or nothing. You just stare, and all along, you know, going crazy, wondering where your girl, why she ain't answering her phone, and wondering why, you know, your mom ain't sent the money or the package you said she was gonna send you. Just your mind, it's the mind. You have to get your mind right up in there, or you gonna go crazy up in there.
Right. Tell me, what's your take on some of the problems in the California prison system right now? We know it's a woefully overcrowded, the least overcrowded prison facility in California is 139% of capacity. The most overcrowded prison is 249% capacity. So what's your take, what's your examination, your interpretation of what's going on with the problems in the criminal justice or the correction system in California right now?
I mean, so many different areas, it's crazy up in there, but at the end of the day, I feel that the individual himself, if they get they mind right and get their activity right, I think it'll be fixed in there. Because right now they know everybody's just all over the place and no focus, no unity, no nothing, just out of control up in there. So then they use that to their advantage, to where, you know, you got all these. They got us fighting against each other with these race riots. That's just ridiculous.
So speaking of race riots, tell me what's at the heart? What's the genesis of the race riots? I know you're familiar with the race riots that have taken place up in Castaic, up in North County, Los Angeles.
I know a lot of people will be like, take offense to my take on it, but at the end of the day, I just think it's a hate, but it ain't that hate to where, like, you know, the 1960s type of hate. It's just a hate like, they think that we're doing too much, and people just hate to see, you know, just blacks, like they think that we think we're all that, and that just irks them. Because, I mean, it's a lot of hypocrisy at the end of the day anyway, because all these hate groups, whether Latino, white, or whatever, that hate us, they embrace our culture, our style, our music, and all that, but at the end of the day, they want to stab us up, or whatever the case may be. And true, a lot of blacks up in there do carry like some kind of, like, you know what I'm saying, arrogance upon themselves, like, you know, they that, you know what I'm saying, individual, whatever. But I just think, because for you got Hispanics and whites uniting as one to oppose blacks, I mean, that's the trip, because they don't really like each other in there. But they could come find a common bond at the end of the day, which is, let's get together and dislike the blacks.
So what do you see as a solution?
I mean, my solution is, like I say, you can't control the next man's actions, so you control your actions. In my belief, I feel if the blacks really united and started like showing more love amongst themselves and quit falling for the whole divide and conquer little scenario, I think a lot of it had died now. And not saying like let's all get together and go attack. I'm saying let's get together and start showing love for each other and like having that, you know, that allegiance or unity that a lot of other people have. And then once they see that, more than likely they're not going to want to mess with you.
Right.
But,
Okay, now let me just interrupt you for a second. I know your future ambitions are to get a record label and to start get a CD out. Could you just give me some of your lyrics, some of the things that you worked on while you were in prison?
I mean, yeah, I got like stuff like, I refuse parole, bitter and broke, stressed on the quest for something to smoke, as if in this free world it's just hard to cope, cause white folks keep telling me no. And true, they ain't the only folks that ain't trying to see me stay afloat, still I won't drown. With one wrong move, this could be you up against rope, so don't clown. Or I'ma fly my way around these roadblocks that they caught to keep me in a tight spot till my heart stopped like my boy Pot. And every time I want no scandalous plots or schemes, or selling dope to fiends or any felonies, please, I'm about to get a bar of these American dreams. And if I gotta take things slow, I'm willing to roll with that flow, especially since the last time I moved fast, I crashed, ended up on death row. Even if I lack this flow, I still find a way to make it happen. Cause like I said before, going back to prison just isn't cracking. I'm far from that brother that's lazy and slacking, lacking ambition and drive. I see it as an easy mission, making this transition from the pen to outside. Homie, believe me, they lied. All parolees ain't the same. Slowly but surely I change when shackled and chained. I'm working with this new mind frame, and material like that, and taking. I like right now with the label I'm dealing with, they want me to come more aggressive and still stay with the wave street, shoot 'em up, bang bang type of thing. But I've been there and done that. You know what I'm saying? I done did 12.5 years up in there. I mean, how can I come out and spit that when I know I ain't really on that page no more?
Right. Okay. Well, I just want to thank you for being candid. I want to thank you for opening up. You did write chapter 3. I made a pledge that I would mentor you, take care of you, give you some guidance, make sure you're not one of the people to get back in the system. And I just like your mindset right now. I like the way you're going, I like the way you're thinking, and I think you can be that role model for guys who have paroled. And I want you to thank you for opening up, and thank you for writing chapter 3 of Prison Race.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.